We started to talk about shooting the pilot once they chose the 4 guys. So they said it would be a great idea if we all got in the same car and went on down to Del Mar or someplace wherever we went to film this Del Coronado, the Del Coronado Hotel. And that was fun. And we, on our way down there, decided that we had to stop to get some food. And, you know, Mickey said, oh, there's a Denny's over there, you know, and there's a that over there, and there's a Howard Johnson's. And here's me looking at this sort of like places saying succulent seafood, lobster, you know. This is not something that I always know. So like, I'm an English kid, you know. This is California. These guys are used to all this stuff. So we end up stopping at Denny's, you know, or one place like that, you know, with a sort of like paradise salad that looked like it'd been like 7 days on the counter. So we all get our meals, and I start, all of a sudden, I hear this chipping sound across the table. And it's Mickey Dolenz eating his food. And if you've ever had a chance to sit and eat with Mickey, you'll know that table manners are not top on priority as far as, you know, he's like, he bashes into the food, and Peter's the same too. I can't speak about Mike. I suppose, you know, hey, what the heck. So he's banging away with his fork, banging this piece of plate, flying all over the place. Maybe I'm exaggerating. But the salad is going all over the place. And finally, I just put my knife and fork down. I said, you. Me? Mickey. I said, you. I've never seen anything like it. I said, you are a pig, all right? I said, you eat like a pig. Can't you just use, you know, because I was a bit embarrassed, to tell you the truth. I said, can't you eat properly? He said, well, it is properly. I said, well, it ain't that, I'll tell you. 'Cause he was like banging at the plate. So this really like sort of laid a little bit of sort of, you know, bad sort of like, oh, you could cut the air with a knife, you know. So all of a sudden, I picked up my knife and fork, and they were looking at me, and I could see, and I started to cut the salad. Cutting the salad, and I took the Roquefort dressing, you know, and I put it on there, and I tossed the salad and put it all together. And I could see they were looking at me, and I was watching them all out the corner of my eye, saying, well, let's see how it's supposed to be done, you know. And I'm going like this. Then I put my fork down, and I put my knife down, and I picked up the salad and went, and I put it under my arms and over my face. Well, after that, no holds barred. From that day on.
The Coliseum is like off to one side of the plaza. The hotel's off to the other side. The subway empties into the plaza. We're getting ready for the show. We're all dressed up. Got on our 4 alike suits. And me in the green hat. I mean, we are the Monkees. We get into the elevator. Toop, 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 toop. And just for contrariness, I push the closed door button before anybody else gets on. And we are now isolated from our security. Just the 4 of us alone in the elevator, which is kind of, oh, isn't this fun? Oh, we're naughty little boys. Isn't this going to be good? Of course, what we were about to do was descend into the jaws of our own fame. The elevator begins to go down. I realize, I don't know where we're going. And I look at the guy and say, you know where we're going? I said, I don't know where we're going. The elevator goes down like 3 floors and opens. And it's kind of a mezzanine foyer. I don't know, it's kind of empty, and I stick my head out. The other 3 guys stick their heads out. And we walk out of the elevator, and I stand there and say, well, this is not the limo, obviously not the limo. I figured we just go down, you know, ha, 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 we fool the security, and go down and get into the car, you know, go through the little wall of security that gets to the car. I look around, and it's nobody. I start to get back on the elevator, and the doors close. And we're now in this lobby, and I look down, and down the hall is about 14 girls, 14, 15 young women. And they look, and they see us, and the chase is on. And they come dashing down the well, just your natural instinct is just to run, which is what we did. We're running down the thing, down the stairs, and blast out of an exit door into the plaza, which is where all the people are coming for the concert. And and these girls, like a snowball, have picked up like another 30 or 40 people with them. So they all come out the door, and we're tearing across the plaza, further and further into the mouth of the beast. And these 30 girls go, Monkees, Monkees, Davy, 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 screaming after the back of us like this. We're running. I mean, and you have to understand that if you get caught, it's not like you're a human being anymore. It's like you're a souvenir. And they don't care what part of you they're going to take home. They're going to take home some part of you. And it's not just clothing we're talking about either. We're talking about eyes and wisdom teeth and whatever they can rip off. So you're dashing across this place, and these people are screaming, and everybody turns, and now it's like 1,000 people see us running across this thing, and they all begin to converge. And it's like, I don't know, I can't imagine what this thing must look like from 16 stories up, but all I see is a police car. And to me, it is an oasis, safe haven. And I said, the police car. And we, vroom, run over to the police car, and into the back seat, boom, shut the door, and these two cops sitting there having coffee and donuts, sitting there looking at each other, and go, and they turn around and look through the cage back at us, and at that time, this sea of humanity sweeps over the police car. It's rocking from side to side. All the faces are pressed up against the window like this. And I said, we're the Monkees. Just drive out of here. Just drive out of here. And they took us to the Cincinnati police station, which then they called the arena, and then they took us in the back way to the arena. Yeah, sometimes it got right out of control. That was a good one. That was a good one, boy.
The hardest thing was my family, because they were bombarded by newspapers, across the street from my house when I used to go to visit my father. The newspapers would rent a room at the house across the street so they could take pictures and wait there for me to come home, knowing full well I was in the country and I'd be eventually I mean, it's silly in a way, but that's it was news, and at the time they wanted to do that. I have a theory about I had to climb over the back fence to get to my house dressed in a woman's dress and a scarf and the whole thing, so that they knocked the wall down in front of our little house in England, and they took the bricks. There's some kid in England who's got one of the bricks from my wall, that says this is from Davy Jones's wall. But it meant something to her, so that's why she kept it, and that's why she's got it.
The incident when Mike Nesmith put his fist through the wall at the Beverly Hills Hotel is very vivid and near and dear to my heart.
I don't remember the chain of events exactly, but at some point we ended up in the Beverly Hills Hotel in some bungalow with Donnie Kirshner and his lawyer.
I had flown out to the Beverly Hills Hotel to give the boys, in those days, it's a lot of money today, $250,000 apiece.
I don't know what it was for. It's for a lot of money, for royalties. And he says, well, this just shows you how good the records are, how good the music is. And, if genius is the ability to see analogy, certainly madness is the ability to see analogy where none exists. And I thought to him, yeah, Donnie, you just got to connect the dots better, Don. This is not.
Well, I would have respected him if they didn't take the money.
Schneider and Rafelson stood back while Mike and Peter confronted Donnie Kirshner and Herb Moelis, his lawyer.
Moelis said something to me like I don't know, he wagged the contract at me, and he said, well, you've got a contract, and this is the contract that you've got. And I smashed my fist through the wall. I said, yeah, well, that could have been your face. But
he actually smashed the wall with his fist.
Which amazed me, because I thought they were pretty solid walls.
In California, it's only plasterboard, so don't worry, he didn't hurt himself. This was the night after the Beatle party that the Beatles had thrown for us, and we were all, feeling no pain, shall we say. And it was a very colorful night, and nobody slept. And that next morning, I ended up somehow walking through Kensington Gardens, a big park where Princess Margaret lives, and actually to go back, the night before, Princess Margaret had sent a formal note to the hotel and to the producers and to us, saying that she couldn't sleep and could we keep the kids quiet, because these kids were out in front of the hotel all day and all night long chanting, "We love the Monkees." So we got this formal royal note from it was Princess Margaret, I guess, who lived in Kensington Palace at the time, saying, "Would you please keep your fans quiet? One can't sleep at night. Can one?" Anyway, the Beatles throws this party in this famous club in London, and we all get hammered. And I end up in this park just walking around at 6 o'clock in the morning. I had to sleep all night in my, pure Indian Afghan leather beaded bell-bottom, things, and tie-dyed silk from India. And this sweater that I'd picked up at an excavation site that somebody used to wrap around an old pipe, and it was crusted like cement. But I found this sweater, and it was like the earth, the people, the workers, and I was one with them. So I had this crusted sweater on over my silk tie-dyed $400, caftan or whatever it was. And I ended up walking in this park, just to get away and just to kind of space out. And I'm doing this, oh, the colors, the trees. Oh, I'm one with trees, and I'm one with the sky. And kids started going to school, and a couple of them saw me and came running over and recognized me immediately. It was only like 2 or 3, and I kind of, oh, my children, come here. And we just started talking about the Monkees. They wanted to know about the Monkees, and I'm talking about the trees and life and children. And quickly it gets past the fan stuff, and they have no more questions to ask. So now we're just hanging out. Now we're like friends. These are 12, 14-year-old girls, I guess. And one of them becomes like my lieutenant. Now, when other kids come running over, she goes and meets him and stops him and says, "Now, take it easy. He's cool. Don't rush. You'll get an autograph. No problem." Now she's working for me. And so she's like cooling him. Well, this, to make a very long story short, this by 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning has become 200 or 300 kids now that are ditching school because they're on their way to school at this time. They're all in their little uniforms, and they've backed me up against this tree. Now my lieutenants they can't do anything else. It's like we're surrounded, and there's like 200 or 300 kids. They want me to sing, they want pictures, they want autographs, and I'm just backed up against this big oak tree. And I said, "Okay, tell you what, if you let me get over to that little bandstand, which is like couple hundred yards away in the park, this little bandstand with a fence around it, I'll sing some songs." "Oh yeah, okay, but you have to let me get over there." And so all my little lieutenants go out, don't touch him, come on. And the sea of kids like parts, and I go, okay, and I close my, and so I kind of half walk, half run. I make it to the bandstand. They actually let me get to the bandstand safe and sound. I get up on there, and they're quite happy now to just surround it because they know I can't go anywhere. And I start singing songs, monkey songs to them, and they start singing school songs to me. And it becomes this real moment. I mean, it was really very touching. And then the police show up, and say that these kids have to go to school, and the kids are going, no, piss off. We want to stay here. And I start crying, and I say, no, but this is like a meeting of like the continents, and it's, this great ethereal spiritual moment that we're singing. This is more important than school. I'm putting up a pretty good argument, it's like music and singing and coming together, joining hands across the waters. And Bob Rafelson and Bert Schneider and Jack Nicholson also, who was on the road with us at the time researching for the movie that we were going to do, that he wrote, he comes out and he comes over and says, Mickey, you gotta like let these kids go to school. But I can't, Jack. I want to sing to them, and they want to sing. And Jack starts crying, and now the policemen are crying, and Bob and Bert and everybody, and the kids are all crying. And so finally I said, okay, I'll go back to the hotel. Okay, I have to go back to you have to go to school. No. And so like idiots, these police and everybody decides the best thing to do is make a run for it. And we got trampled. I mean, it was like 400 stampede to the hotel, and kids running along and falling and crashing and grabbing. And then I got up into the top of the balcony of this hotel out of the window like bloody Evita or something. Going, my children. Oh, Mickey, goodbye. Off to school. God.
Mickey got him. Mickey and I we went to Monterey and saw Jimmy do what he did, and Mickey got it. I didn't get it. Because at Monterey, Jimmy followed the Who, and the Who bashed up their things, and then Jimmy came and burned his guitar. I said, "Oh, I just saw that. I was just done. Explosions and destructo. Who needs it?" But Mickey got it. It took me a little longer. I did get it eventually. I'm a little slow. I did get it eventually. And Mickey said, "We got to get this guy," because Mickey was just enthusiastic about his music. Mickey saw the genius and went for it. And we got the guy. I said, "We got to get this guy. We got to get this guy." So we worked and got him, and that was all there was to it. Nobody thought, here is the avatar, the screaming, scary, the balls off of your daddy music, compared with the Monkees, and it wasn't going to play. No, it didn't cross anybody's mind that it wasn't going to fly. And so there's poor Jimmy. And the kids' hair is standing on end, and they go, "We want the Monkees, we want the Monkees." So I heard that Jimmy flipped him off, but I don't know for a fact that he flipped him off and said, "I'm not doing this anymore." I also heard that it was like mutually, well, I guess we'll skip it. But I don't know, being thrown off the Monkees tour is probably one of the better things that ever happened to Jimi Hendrix's career. It really, given the nature of what people were saying about the Monkees at the time, it probably, did give him an extra boost. But it didn't matter. The wonderful thing about that, two wonderful things. One was that we went early to the shows and listened, to listen to what this man could do, because he really was. He was a world-class musician no matter what. If he'd been playing Beethoven, people would have been falling on their faces about the way he played Beethoven. And the other thing was that he was such a sweet guy that it was really just a pleasure to have him around for company. Just, how you doing? Just that his air of just, everything's all right. Things are cool. It's okay. Just made you relax just to be around him. So, And it was always, it's just, there are people that you respected their talent, and you'd be happy to see them because they were so talented people and you respected them and you admired them. But Jimmy was just an angel. One time in particular, we were on the road in Osaka. And after all the furor about the Monkees aren't a real band and are we going to make our own records and stuff like that, we caught fire. I remember the song we were doing. We were doing Sunny Girlfriend, Mike's song. And there was something about that song and something about that feel. We just hit the pocket. It was like wonderful. It was transportational, just the kind of thing that I got into music to do in the first place. And David... And we're playing to 18,000 screaming kids, and Davey banging a tambourine, and he comes waltzing over to me right in the middle of the thing, in the middle of this wonderful thing, and yells at me over the noise of he says, "We're going to form a group!"